Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we are doing something a little bit different. I have been meaning to do this for months and months and months, and I keep putting it off. But what I want to start doing for the book videos on my channel is a quarterly review, I guess, of all of the books that I've read over the last 3 months. So I know that I talk about my books that I've read in my monthly favorites, but because that's kind of hidden in my makeup monthly favorites video, I wanted to do a specific book dedicated video on the books I've read. That way, if people want to just watch my book videos, they can. There's a little branch here that's hitting me. But if people want to just watch my book videos, they can watch this instead of having to watch my monthly favorites. So I hope you guys like this idea. Today is going to be the books that I read in September, October, November, and December. I haven't decided if I should do 4 months or 3 months yet. We'll see how it goes. But today is just going to be the past 4 months. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching, and let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so I do have some actual books in front of me, but I also had borrowed books and I don't actually have them with me. So one of the books that I read, I think this must have been back in September, but I don't have it physically with me right now, is The Plague by Albert Camus. That book I actually did enjoy. I found it was a little slow at times. It wasn't a fast-paced book at all. There really wasn't a lot going on in terms of plot, but it was a really interesting book, and I think it was perfect to read during this the past year. It was just the perfect book to read. You can kind of tell by the title why, but it was a really interesting book, and it makes me want to read more by Camus. So I am going to read The Stranger. It's a book that I've been meaning to pick up, but it's never in stock whenever I am looking to purchase it. I would recommend that one, especially if you are looking for something to read that is kind of relevant and appropriate for the times that we're in. That would be a good one. I also read this book, which I actually have because I bought it, and it is The Heart's Invisible Furies by Boyne. This book was so good. It was actually an emotional roller coaster. Reading this one, there are times when I was just killing myself laughing, and then by the end I was in tears. It was such an emotional ride, but it's such a good book. I really like it. It's one of my favorite books actually that I read in 2020. I'm really glad I bought it because I definitely want to read it again, and I want to get my book clubs to read it as well. Oh, that is another thing. I meant to say this at the intro, but would you guys be interested in starting a book club? One of you had messaged me on Instagram saying that I should start a book club, and I haven't actually brought it up on my channel yet. But if you would be interested in a virtual book club, let me know in the comments below. I don't know exactly how it would work. I don't know, but I also don't know if anyone's interested. So if you would be interested in joining a virtual book club, let me know in the comments below, because I would totally start it. I love book clubs. I'm in 2 right now, and one of them's kind of on a standstill because we just haven't read a new book in ages. Anyway, I want one of my book clubs to read this because it's just so good. It's such an amazing book. The writing is really easy to read. There's nothing difficult about the writing style, but it's really tugs at your heartstrings. It's so good. I was crying and sobbing so hard at the end of this book. It really got me. I thought I had escaped because I got through almost the whole book without crying. I'm people were lying when they told me that it was going to be a sad book. And then I got to the end and I was in tears. So anyway, love this book. It was a really good read from 2020. I'm trying to read 2 books a month. So that's why I don't have actually that many books to talk about, because I just don't have the time to read more than 2 books. And it's really a struggle, honestly. This month even has been a struggle to actually read 2 books. So that's kind of my goal, and why my books, my book lists are kind of small. I read one self-help book in the past 4 months. It's called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff by Dr. Richard Carlson. This is a really good book. I actually really like it. This isn't my copy. I need to return it to work. Haven't been in the office for about a year, so once I go back, I'm going to return it. But I do want to buy my own copy because it's really, really good. It taught me so much, and I want to have it handy so that I can refer back to it whenever I need to. I'm not one to read a lot of self-help. I don't find that I do read a lot of self-help books, but this one I actually did really enjoy and would recommend. One book that I don't have with me right now that I did read was Eye of the Needle. I cannot remember Ken Follett wrote that one. That was such an exciting book. I was on the edge of my seat pretty much the whole time. The beginning was maybe a little bit slow, but by midway through the book and towards the end, it was like you were like on the edge of your seat waiting to find out what happens. It was really exciting. It's one of those historical fictions. It's set during World War II, I think World War II, and it's been a while since I've read these books, and it was all about the spies, all the tensions during the Second World War. It's fiction, of course, but it is kind of historically accurate. It was really good. It wasn't a hard read at all, and it was so exciting, and it really got me into the mood to read these like thrillers, mysteries, action-packed books, which I haven't read that many of actually in the past. So it was kind of a different genre for me to read in 2020, but I did really like that one. If you're into those types of books, I would definitely recommend it. I also read The Dry, which I don't have either. That is more of like a modern mystery, and that one was really exciting as well. They actually just came out with a movie. It's by Jane Harper, the book is, and the movie has Eric Bana as the lead, and I really want to see it because it would be such a good movie. I can just imagine it exactly. And it really has you guessing the entire time about who the bad guy is. You really don't know who the murderer is going to be until the very end when they reveal it. So it's a very exciting mystery book, and it actually put me in the mood to read more Agatha Christie's. I haven't read an Agatha Christie in a really long time, and I'd really love to read more. If you have a favorite Agatha Christie book, please let me know in the comments below. I've read a play in the past 4 months. I did read Hamlet by Shakespeare. I mean, it's a pretty classic play. It's a very famous story, so I don't really need to tell you guys what it's about or how good it is, but I did really like it. If you haven't read Shakespeare before, if you didn't have to read it for school, or even if you did read it for school, I sometimes find that when you go back and reread it when you're older and you can actually appreciate it and it's not homework, you do enjoy it more. At least I do. So even if you haven't read this since high school, I would recommend giving it another shot. I also read Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. This is such a good book as well. I really enjoyed it. It is pretty sad, and it's like dark but kind of told in a lighter way. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's dark and intense, and it talks about some serious matters, but then it's kind of lighthearted, and the way that Celeste Ng kind of shifts the perspectives, I think you actually see through everybody's mind at one point in the book, like at least all the main characters. You get to see the world through the eyes of all of the Richardson kids, Elena Richardson. You get to see it through Mia's eyes, Pearl's eyes. Like, you pretty much get everybody's perspectives, which is actually really cool. You don't really notice that it's like kind of shifting characters a lot. It's a good book. It's not a hard read at all. The subject matter, of course, is a bit deeper, more mature, but the actual language used is not hard to read. I did like this one a lot. And the last two books that I read over the past 4 months, one of them was To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. This is more of like a long form poem. It's so beautiful. The writing style in here is so amazing. I was actually shocked that I liked it so much. I guess it's not really surprising. I like plot-driven books, but I also like just beautifully written books where the language just amazes you. How like the author could create such beautiful sentences, that always amazes me. So I did really enjoy it for the actual artistic style, but there really wasn't much of a plot to this book, and I did find it a little bit tricky to read. Like, it definitely took me a while to get into, and at the very beginning I couldn't keep the characters straight in my head. Like, there was names being thrown out everywhere. There's like 8 kids in this book, I think, and I couldn't keep the characters straight, so I did end up looking it up to see who all the characters were, and that helped me a lot to get through the book because it made it easier for me to figure out who Nancy was and who Andrew was and things like that. I did really like it for the style of the writing, and it makes me want to read more Virginia Woolf. I know a lot of you recommended Mrs. Dalloway, so I will check that one out because I actually haven't read that one yet. And last but not least, I read Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Again, it's a pretty easy read, a very famous story, so I don't need to tell you guys anything about that. I think I've mentioned it like every time I do a book video, but I'm not the biggest fan of Charles Dickens. I just find his writing style is a little bit long-winded, and it's just too descriptive for me, honestly. But I do like some of his novels. Like, I love David Copperfield, and I love A Tale of Two Cities, and A Christmas Carol is also really, really good. It's really, really short. It's almost like a short story, but it's definitely worth the read. And those are all the books that I've read in the past 4 months. Like I said, I'm going to try and continue to do this style of video either every quarter or every 4 months. Once I have like a good decent amount of books to talk about, I kind of want to do like one of these wrap-up videos. So let me know if you guys like this style. Also, let me know about the book club and if you'd be interested in joining it. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Please subscribe if you would like to see more videos, and I'll see you in my next one.